Pardon me?
Are we going to closed session?
Yes, and then we need to go into closed session. I'm going to read the motion, and then I would look for someone to make that motion. The closed session is for District Office Conference Room A, McFarland High School. Motion for closed session under Wisconsin Statute 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved in, and considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary consideration of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be, pardon me, likely to have a substantial adverse effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data, or involved in such problems or investigations, to discuss a certified staff personnel complaint. So I would look for a motion of that.
So moved.
All right, Huey.
Second.
Who's the first time I've said that?
All right.
That's
Howry?
Craig.
Yes.
Okay.
Huey first,
Howry.
second by Howry.
Got it.
All right, let's do roll call. Chapman,
Here.
Huey.
Here.
All right, the other H, Howry. I was just
Yes.
going random. All right, Fisher,
Here.
Fessler, aye. All right, all those in favor, please signify by, oh no, we did that already. Signify by saying aye to go into closed
Aye.
session. Aye. We are in closed session at 6:17. Motion passed, 5-0. and let's resume this meeting at 7:21. And I would look for a motion for the consent agenda, which contains the minutes from the March 16th board meeting, certified and co-curricular staffing recommendations.
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I said,
Ooh, you guys want to rock, paper, scissors?
have
for
it.
Okay. All right. Does anyone want to pull out anything specific from that to discuss? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries 5-0. And as usual, there are personnel items that do not require a vote. So next, we're up to public comments, and I believe we have one registered. Is that true? Yes. Yeah, let me read our, as you get settled, you can come up to the table, and as you get settled, I'll read our statement here. In accordance with School Board Policy 167.3, the McFarland School Board welcomes public comment during regular meetings from individuals who are present at the meeting, participating virtually, or have sent an email to the board president or superintendent. Participants are required to register to speak upon arriving at that meeting, provide their name, address, and any group affiliation before speaking, address only topics within the legitimate jurisdiction of the board, recognize that the board will not respond to comments during the meeting unless the item is on the published agenda, limit their comments to under 5 minutes or 600 written words, and maintain decorum. And with that, please begin.
Michelle Garvey, and I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for your time and consideration in the possibility of renaming the Performing Arts Center to become the Bill Garvey Performing Arts Center. I will be here at the agenda. I know it is on your agenda. I'll be here during that time should any questions come up, and I would be available to answer them. In addition, I wanted to assure the board that if you do go and vote on this and do go to change the name, our group will go into fundraising mode, so it is not a costly venture at all. So I wanted to reassure you of that. In conclusion, I received a letter from a former student, and I just want to read it to you. You do have copies of this letter. I just thought it really summarized what we're thinking about as a whole. Dear members of the McFarland School Board, I'm writing to express my strong support for renaming the McFarland Performing Arts Center in honor of Bill Garvey. As a former student of Mr. Garvey, I can say with certainty that his impact extends far beyond the classroom. He helped shape not only musicians, but confident, resilient, and community-minded individuals. Mr. Garvey was more than a band teacher. He was a mentor who believed deeply in his students, often long before they believed in themselves. He created an environment where excellence was expected, but just as importantly, where effort, growth, and teamwork were celebrated in his classroom. His classroom was a place where students learned discipline, accountability, and pride in their work, lessons that carried into every aspect of our lives. Under his leadership, the McFarland Band program reached remarkable heights. He consistently led a record number of students in marching band, while also growing and sustaining a wide variety of ensembles, including jazz bands and other performing groups. The dedication, commitment, and pride shown by his students were a direct reflection of Mr. Garvey himself. Students didn't just participate, they showed up, worked hard, and cared deeply, largely because of the culture he built. What made Mr. Garvey truly exceptional was his ability to connect. He saw each student as an individual and knew how to challenge and support them in a way that brought out their best. Whether it was staying late after school, offering encouragement before a performance, or pushing us to reach a higher standard, his dedication was unwavering. He also brought a warmth and energy that was unmistakable. His incredible contagious smile and one-of-a-kind personality made every rehearsal and performance experience memorable. He created a space where students felt seen, valued, and inspired. While his tenure and contributions were recognized during his career, many of us feel that recognition did not fully capture the depth and lasting impact of his influence. Renaming the Performing Arts Center in his honor would be a meaningful and lasting way to ensure that his legacy is celebrated in a way that reflects what he truly meant to this community. The Performing Arts Center represents creativity, expression, and community, values that Mr. Garvey embodied every day. This is more than a name change. It is an opportunity to honor a legacy that continues to live on through the countless students whose lives he influenced. I'm one of many who can attest that because of Mr. Garvey, we are better, not just as musicians, but as people. Thank you for your time and consideration in this meaningful recognition. And it's signed by Allie Caton, and she was in the class of 2007. She was in the class of 2007, and she's also one of the assistant track coaches right now. So she felt important to write the letter, and I wanted to share it publicly with you. So thanks, and
Thank
I'll
you.
be around if you have any questions as we move on.
Thanks, Michelle.
Is it within the 5? Is that okay?
You did
Oh,
good.
nice work.
You
Right,
got the
are there-
metronome in you, Michelle.
Are there any other public comments that were registered? No? Okay. All right, then we are ready to move on to the McFarland High School student report.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Dean with the good hair.
Thank you.
Great hair.
Okay, I'm just gonna share. Okay. Oh, what are we doing? Okay, there we go. Technical difficulties. Okay, so again, good evening. I'm going to get right into things. So this is the 12th edition of the McFarland High School Student Report for the 2025 to 2026 school year on Monday, April 6th. Starting off with our highlights. Before spring break, during the week of March 16th to March 20th, Hope Squad put on their annual Hope Week for 2026. Although the week started with a snow day, officers were able to restructure the week's activities. Monday remained comfy day while everyone was at home. Tuesday was Shine Bright Day, focused on accessories, and our rock, paper, scissors tournament, which focused on bringing students together that normally do not engage with each other to strengthen our community. And the competition was won by Braden Thompson. Wednesday was Support Your Team Day with a jersey dress up, and we brought back our kindness rock painting activity to provide an opportunity for students to express artistic and creative abilities with each other. Thursday was Mental Health Awareness Day to further Hope Squad's mission of destigmatizing mental health and preventing suicide. Students were encouraged to wear green and take green mental health awareness ribbons to help with that goal. Friday was True Color Day with a monochromatic dress-up day and our kindness clip activity. And overall, 2026 was another wonderful addition to Hope Squad's Hope Week, and officers have already begun to look ahead to next year for Hope Week 2027. Moving forward to our clubs, the Student Council recently donated a brand new popcorn maker to American Legion Post 534 in McFarland after theirs had sadly broken down. Anna and I visited the Legion to drop it off on March 31st after school, and our veterans were incredibly grateful, and we were more than happy to support them, as we hope to continue doing in the future. Next, the Student Council has also formed an exploratory scholarship committee with hopes to award one senior in Student Council with a scholarship each year to recognize their outstanding dedication, leadership, and service. The committee is still drafting the specificities and requirements, and we are working closely with administration to hopefully implement the McFarland Student Council Scholarship beginning in the 2026 to 2027 school year. This scholarship would go again to one senior, and it would be funded through Student Council's account with money that they already have. Next, the Multicultural Club met this past week to make Easter goodie bags for the Senior Outreach Center once again, to be delivered with meals to senior citizens in our community, strengthening those ties and connections that we have with the Senior Outreach Center at the Municipal Center. And that's always another great way, and we continue to make efforts to do so. Also, the McFarland DECA recently teamed up with Angelo's on Wednesday, April 1st, to help them fundraise for their involvement and participation in the 2026 DECA International Career Development Conference, also known as ICDC. They're building skills now to apply in the future, and that's a really big part of DECA. 20% of Angelo's carryout order proceeds for that night went to McFarland DECA for that fundraising effort. And then finally, on Friday, April 17th, coming up, while students have the day off, Ms. Canfield and Hope Squad officers will join more than 50 other schools by attending the Wisconsin Office of Children's Mental Health 2026 Mental Wellness Student Leadership Summit, which is not a short thing to say at all, to learn more about how Hope Squad can continue to help our school and community through a day of speeches, activities, and teamwork to further their mission.
Do you know where that's held?
What was that?
Where is that held?
I think the Monona Terrace, I believe. I know it's in Monona.
Yep.
Moving forward, our spring sports teams have recently begun their seasons. So here are just a few quick updates on the teams. Track and field competed in 2 indoor events on Saturday in Watertown and at UW Whitewater, and all of their athletes performed extremely well. Baseball started very well with a win over Broadhead on Tuesday. Softball unfortunately came up short against Mount Horeb, but they did compete well. Girls soccer won over some Prairie East 1-0. Boys golf started practicing in late March and have their first competitions planned for this week, and that is kind of the same situation for boys tennis and ultimate frisbee. They have also started practices and are looking to get started here soon. And then finally, with girls lacrosse, they had a strong win over Notre Dame on Tuesday of 10-9. As always, we hope to bring you even more updates on each sport as their seasons continue, especially those reports directly from coaches that we really appreciate, and we will get those in future meetings as the spring progresses. Moving forward to a special update. So obviously, as many of you probably know, in the past few weeks, the McFarland community was devastated by the passing of Derek Schwarting, a loved and cherished alumnus, former athlete, and varsity football coach. His leadership and community impact were of his most admired qualities and contributions, especially when it came to the With Heart mission, his charitable organization created to give back to McFarland seniors entering the medical field through scholarships, and inspired by his own experience with enduring open heart surgery at only 21 after a severe staph infection. To remember and honor Derek, the Student Council has started a planning committee to create a day in the coming weeks that is dedicated to honoring him, his legacy, and the With Heart mission to serve as a way to commemorate his character and also what he and his family were trying to achieve with the With Heart mission. And we know that his family started a GoFundMe and has really been trying to bring attention to the With Heart mission. So we thought we would help out with that here at school and trying to get students involved in any way that we can. Moving up to coming up in the next few weeks. Back in March, before spring break, the juniors took the ACT with science and writing back in March. As a junior, we just got our results back, so there's a lot of mixed feelings there.
How's Dean feeling?
You know, they released on a Thursday, like right as school was ending, so Friday, it was the only thing people were talking about. So there was a lot to talk about there. But underclassmen are preparing to take the pre-ACT next week on Wednesday, April 15th, and obviously upperclassmen have that asynchronous learning day to engage with their classes and coursework. And then finally, later this month, Student Council is bringing back Cancer Awareness Week from the week of April 20th to April 24th, 2026. This is a week where we represent and bring awareness to several different cancers through dress-up days and activities, including our Teacher in Paradise activity, where students can donate money to have their teacher visit paradise for half of their class and kind of get a free block or free half block. This year, all funds raised will be donated to the UW Carbone Cancer Center. Throughout the week, we'll represent childhood cancer, on Monday, breast cancer on Tuesday, melanoma on Wednesday, lung cancer on Thursday, and all cancers on Friday, with those dress-up days being the corresponding colors to represent those cancers. That is all I have for you in regard to the beginning of April. Things are kind of just starting to get started as spring opens and as everyone gets back from spring break. It's always great to give this presentation to all of you and to speak with all of you. So thank you for your time as always. Again, I say this a million times and every time, but our contact information is always there if you need it. But if no one has any questions, I will let you guys move on with the agenda.
Thank you, Dean.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dean.
Thank
Great job
you.
as always.
Yep, appreciate it.
Excellent.
Have a good
Okay,
night.
have a good night, everyone.
You too.
Dean.
Bye.
All right. That's nice that student council is doing that for Derek.
Yeah.
All right, so next on the agenda, we have our student life survey results from Mr. Tarnitzer.
Excellent. So you have you have seen this already, but you also have at your table a printed copy of the slideshow, and we'll go through some of these highlights from the survey and share some of the things that we have learned. Couple things, reminder, we do partner with a third-party organization called School Perceptions for these surveys. They collect and analyze the information for us, but then they give us the raw data as well so we can look. All surveys are done anonymously. And this year, they were kind of a January, February timeframe. That's when we always do the student survey. And we had a nice participation rate, 89%.
What was it
Great.
last?
What was that?
What was it the last year?
What was the,
Participation rate.
very close to that.
Okay.
It might have been 90, yeah, it was
Okay.
within that. I mean, it's just people are absent and then it's hard to get them to make it up, particularly our upperclassmen. Because they're not here, you
Right.
know.
Youth
and so-
apprenticeships.
They're out doing
Yes.
all the work. Yeah.
So you can see the grade distribution here. It starts at 4th grade and goes to 12th grade, so that's the participation rate. We've done this since 2023-24. That was our first year of doing the student survey. We had done the parent and staff survey before that, and added the student survey that year. The big thing to focus on when you look at the data is the percent that agree or disagree, or agree or strongly agree. That's a good indicator. There is a comparison number, and we will talk about that. We have found, however, that because the sample size can be relatively small from year to year, if they're comparing similar size Wisconsin districts, 1 percentage point can change the comparison pretty significantly. Keep in mind that there is variability across buildings. We'll be sharing district results. Our buildings also analyze their results in detail through building leadership teams as part of their school improvement process. Overall, the survey results were very positive, very strong, stable results. Our climate is very positive in terms of belonging, relationships, safety, effort. And there's some opportunities to increase student engagement. We'll talk about that. One of the things you'll see came through was talking about some distractions in classes and stress, particularly for our high school students, that they are really feeling. So I'm gonna focus on kind of the overall high leverage areas to get us started. Overall strengths, you'll see that most of the areas have 80% plus that agree or strongly disagree, or strongly agree, excuse me. And, you know, they have those two highest scores of 4 or 5, so it's a 5-point scale. And the indices, which we'll be talking about in a minute, were above 4, so they're very consistent with last year results. And comparisons, you know, ranging in the upper 3/4 there, 75th to 77th percentile. Some of the things, I like to group these by categories to give you a sense of some of the different things we're seeing in terms of strengths. Students feeling like they can be themselves, that their identity is reflected. You can see that there, an increase of 2.4% in the percent that feel they can be themselves in school, and 91% of students agreeing that their culture and identity are valued at school. So nice indicator there. In terms of their relationships with staff, this was a real strength. You can see those upper 80s and mid 90s, with 95% strongly agree that their teachers treat them with respect. So a wonderful indication of the hard work of our teachers. They also explain things in a way kids get, that their teachers care about them. Very positive results. Feel that if they have a big problem, there's someone they can go to, and that they can share their opinions and ideas. And many, many do. In terms of relationships with students, I thought this was interesting. 97% of students feel they have friends to sit with at lunch and to hang out with at school. 95% feel they have friends that who help them when they need help. So not only do you have people to sit with, but they're there for you when you need them. So a great indication of our climate. Nice increase in those that feel students treat them with respect. And also a nice increase in those that like working in groups with their classmates, because that's certainly a skill they need to develop for the rest of their life. Students report feeling positive relationships. Their parents are helping them with things at school, and an increase in the percent agreeing that they talk to people outside of school about what they're learning. We'll also be talking about that as an area of growth, but it's an increase of almost 3%. And I don't know how many parents out there are feeling it, but it did increase. So if it didn't happen in your household, it was somebody else's. Most kids follow the rules. We did see that in the 93rd percentile, with 73% strongly agreeing. So obviously, that's an area of growth, as well as a nice indicator when comparing with other districts. And then you see 92% strongly agreeing that they feel safe at school, with a slight increase there. Obviously, we want that to be 100%, so I don't want to negate the fact that we still had 8% of students that did not fully agree with that. Getting into the bullying, had an increase of almost 2% in those that agree that if they were bullied, they would feel comfortable talking with someone here at school, in a very high percentile there compared to other districts. And I always love this one, 96% say they try their best in school. So I don't know that their teachers would agree that all 96% do, or their parents for that matter, but they feel like they do, and we're gonna trust that perspective. And they like helping each other and helping other people when they can. In terms of areas of growth, this is our favorite as an administrative team. Our biggest area of growth is we had a decrease in almost 5% of people reporting being able to go online or using a device at school when needed, as defined by the student. That was largely 11th and 12th graders. An idea, a speculation, maybe because of the new cell phone policy here at the school, with putting their phones in wall pockets as they enter, which students whisper they really like it. It's
I've
very
heard it.
helpful. Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So we're going to take that hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is something they're also seeing statewide. I have heard that reported as well in this survey, the people that take the survey. An area of growth, it always just makes me sad that on a 0 to 10 scale, we're in the 6s for most days I like my school. I mean, we really want people to really like going to school.
But at their age, did you?
I loved school, Bruce. I'm sure, I don't remember for sure. No, yeah.
You're
What
better
would I
man
have
than
said?
me.
I wouldn't have given it a 10, but maybe higher
I
than
really
a
like study
6.
hall. I like lunch.
Yeah, right. So you're right. That's fair to say. And I would say, moving forward with some of these too, it's a good point you bring up, Bruce. It's like, I do wonder what they would have put down when I was going to school. Some of these things, yeah, you know. Because we had a decrease in people saying that they felt at the high school saying homework was useful, and some feeling it was more busy work, feeling that they can talk to people about what they're learning. It's only 66%. But again, did you, as a high schooler or a fourth grader or a sixth grader? Maybe not. We really would love it if more kids felt safe answering questions in class when they're not sure of the answer. And we have been working on that as a staff this year with some of our response protocols. It's been a real area of focus for our Department of Teaching and Learning. And then, of course, kids relating to what they can, what they're learning. So 78%, we'd love to see that higher. Students are reporting that some of them don't feel that kids are following the rules most of the time. I'm sure they are all following the rules themselves, but other kids are. But that is something we would like to see increase a little bit. And then you have students reporting, as I mentioned earlier, talking about students distracting them or distracting behaviors in class make learning hard. So certainly behaviors have been an area of focus for the district for several years coming out of the pandemic. We see growth. It is slow, steady growth, but certainly some growth continue to be needed. And then, as I mentioned earlier, about 57% of our students at the high school are saying too much stress is something that makes learning hard for them. And 54% said they're getting nervous before tests. So just a lot of pressure on our kids.
I wonder how much of that is actually school pressure,
Sure.
right?
Like academic pressure.
I mean, the 54% listed getting nervous before tests, that's academic pressure, but like, I wonder how much of it has actually changed in the last 10 years, that it's actually school stress versus social stress that happens at
Still
school.
makes learning hard, sure.
Yeah, that's true. But
That's a good
just a curiosity. It's interesting.
Good
Either way,
point.
they're too stressed.
They are too
It's
stressed.
the bottom line.
So the indexes, what they do is they take multiple questions and they group them into these 4 categories of connection, learning, environment, and experience. And that's part of our strategic plan, really uses these as part of our key performance indicators. So you can see very, very stable, but relatively high results. You know, when you have a 5-point scale and you're over 4 on all of them, including that first one, connection, being a 4.47. It's really strong and stable results. So that's something to note. Here's that chart of most days I like my school, so you can kind of see how it develops. It's a fairly typical chart from district to district, but we do like to be better than everybody else. So, you know, 5 being sort of, I can understand that, but that's certainly something we want to increase. And then this is going to be a little bit redundant, but it's just another way for you to look at the data. The 5 items with the highest score from the highest down to the lowest of the top 5. You know, some nice things to show. A 4.8 is just a really high score on a 5-point scale. And then in terms of improvement, talking about school with people outside of school is a nice indicator, and you see those increases there. The lowest scores, and then of course this is the 3.52 is the lowest, still some growth there. And then the 5 items with the least improvement. Also, what I notice when I look at this, besides the going online one, is if that's our 5 items with the least improvement, they hardly moved. So, you know, there's something to be said that. One thing I'm just going to editorialize a little bit, and some of you have heard this speech, and you'll get to hear it again. My teachers make classes fun and interesting. I think that our teachers, there's a lot of pressure on them to entertain students with the attention span of the world that we live in. And so that is just something, you may actually see that decrease in the future as we kind of get into making our brains sweat a little bit more. I don't think that boredom is necessarily a bad word, but it has become that way. So that's something you may be hearing more about. Some of us that read The Anxious Generation are kind of buzzed up about that a little bit.
Yep, that makes sense.
So,
Bless
and I know some of you are. I'm not going to go through all of these sections for you because it is very redundant, but it's another way to look at the data. It breaks it down question by question, and it shows the percent that agree, the current score, the previous score, the change, and the comparison in these different categories. But it would be very redundant for me to do this for you, but I give it to you. What makes learning hard for students? That's the one we talked about a little bit. This is, first of all, the 4 through 8 groups. You can see distracting students is their top, with 64% saying that. And then getting nervous before tests being the next, and too much stress. Compared to our high schoolers, where too much stress is up at the top, then getting nervous before tests, and then a distracting student. So same top 3, just a different order. But, you know, our kids are stressed.
They don't get enough sleep.
That's true.
Percentage was interesting to me.
It seems probably lower than it should be.
Yeah, self-reporting,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
like kids are saying, well, I don't get enough sleep. Well, like if you're in high school, stay off your phone.
A lot of times teachers-
Yeah, right?
Teachers can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
kind of like, Megan, to your point about like stay off your phone, like it's interesting. I'm one of those anxious generation junkies. And like the attention span, like fun, like if it's fun or not, fun and interesting. And then when you look at like get nervous before tests and too much stress, like when we're talking about the anxious generation, like is it that we, like I remember one of the teachers saying in the professional development was, like try 3 and then ask me. Like are
3 before
we,
me, yeah.
yeah, like are we, is it stress? Is it the perception that we're stressed because we're being asked to do things that we're not used to doing, but we're not used to doing them because we've not been asked because we've been on devices? I don't know. I just think it's interesting. So
Yeah, you'll be hearing a lot more of the phrase productive struggle, I think,
That's
moving
something.
Ooh, I
forward.
like that.
That's way more concise. Thank you.
Yep, and just thinking about with our students is that, well, my teacher's not helping me. Well, part of learning requires you to struggle a little bit with it. So that'll, especially with the AI and
Yeah.
those
You
things.
got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's
More
exactly
to
right.
come.
Comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the homework one, we talked about that. Nice to see our students reporting they're participating in school-sponsored activities. That's it. Any other observations, questions, comments y'all had?
I think
Good
the
to
only
know.
one I noticed, and of course I didn't bring my highlighted one, so I don't remember what page it was on. But, and I think you alluded to it, Erin, the sharing information about what I learned.
Yeah,
Like it was a growth and an area of opportunity.
yep.
I just thought that was unique. That was all.
It's
Nothing
getting
more than
better,
that.
but still not great.
Yeah.
I think that's also a hard one, I would think, for younger kids to identify that they're doing. Because they are probably doing it, but they just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Well, and how often as parents have we said, hey, what'd you learn in school today? Nothing. You know?
Right.
True.
It's true. But we know they're learning.
Move.
Yeah, exactly.
Something happened.
All right. That's good.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
thank
so
you.
you will, just to foreshadow, so this is the student report. The next will be the parent guardian report. That has been completed, and just, we're gonna analyze it as an administrative team before bringing it to you. And then the last one is the staff
Okay.
reports. You'll get all of those surveys. The staff one goes out on Thursday.
Did we get the same kind of response from the parents and guardians as,
Microphone.
I wouldn't think.
No.
Hey, Craig, microphone.
oh, jeez. Sorry about that,
You're going to
everyone.
really miss those reminders
Yes.
at the end of April.
Yeah, I believe you asked, did we get the same kind of response rate? No. The
Which you wouldn't
students,
expect.
Right, students are a captive audience.
Yeah.
So we rely on parents to be able to fill it out. One of the things that happens too is that sometimes a household will say, "Oh, you filled it out, okay." And so that hurts our response rate because you'll have a multiple parent
They're
household,
individuals,
and
yeah.
then they don't all fill it out because they're like, "Oh, you took care of that for us, okay,
Yeah.
great." You might
Just
just see
assume.
things differently.
It's true. It's true.
That has occurred.
Yeah.
I can confirm.
True.
So, but thank you. So more to come.
All right. Excellent.
Thank you.
Any other comments about that? Okay. Then district administrators report.
Oh, boy. No,
You're up again.
yes. All right, well, let's look at some pictures. How about it? So, we are going to
That was a
share
cute
some
one.
pictures. So, oh, look at this. Love of reading everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
including the top of someone. Phonics lesson. I don't fully understand this. Do you understand this, Emily? Heart parts? Identify heart parts or parts of the words they haven't learned phonics rules for yet. I don't know.
So
But-
like if there's pieces that follow the phonics rules of English,
Yeah.
the word said, this is the typical sound you'd expect from the S, so that part you don't need to memorize, but the you'd expect maybe an E, like S-E-D would be the phonetic spelling if it was regular, but it's not, so the hard part is the AI.
Oh.
Ah,
Yeah, it's that part that doesn't follow the rule.
the part that doesn't follow.
Thank you,
Okay.
teacher.
Thank
Thank
you.
That's English.
See, we're
great.
doing learning here today too.
We're going to start our math theme here with the Math 24, the March Regional 24 game tournament. So we had some good results there. Very exciting. I'm not sure where that's coming in. What is that over there? What is that over there? That's, I don't know. I don't know. It's not, it ain't me. But anywho, so some positive results there. The kids have to think really fast, and they love the pace of it. Thank you. And our 4th and 5th grade students, look at them. I just look.
Look so happy.
I know that their parents think they look really old, but they look really young to me, and I just think, oh my gosh, they are loving math and feeling pretty cool at Union South. That's kind of fun. So here we are in 8th grade, technology and engineering. They're elective projects, so they get to really get creative and do some problem solving there and see some good smiles. It makes me very nervous that we're at a saw and we're looking at the camera.
thought that.
Look down.
The same thought.
Look down, but I love those. Those are fun to see because they love to show you when they're doing those elective projects. They want to show you what's going on. Here we have some science students. They were doing the earthquake tower project, which you may have seen in previous times. So building that tower strong enough to withstand an earthquake.
I like the dog.
Yeah,
Oh, the talk at the time.
clever. Now we're back to math a little bit. Here they are, the middle school. You can see some really positive results in the competition there. Did really well, but having a lot of fun. I wonder how many of those kids did it when they were younger.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thought.
Fun game. And then you have the student council. You heard about the challenge. I don't know if you saw the picture, 643 boxes. Wow. So
Yeah.
thank you to everybody that contributed to that. That'll help families for the next 3 months.
Wow.
Arisa here, Optimus Club Senior of the Month, getting that fancy parking spot was great to brag about her and to share that with her. So congratulations to her and thanks to the Optimus Club for their sponsorship. BSU, the Black Student Union, attended a leadership summit. So what a great opportunity for them to go to Madison College and collaborate with other leaders. Love the smiles. The good things learned. You can see the French students. I know we've talked about this. Recreating Van Gogh-inspired masterpieces on cookies.
Now that's
Yeah.
awesome.
You kidding
That's
me?
delicious.
And I'm starving right now. Just thinking.
In the future, if there are leftovers.
I know, right?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Very creative.
I think many of you saw this. This poster really was getting a lot of traction. So Angie Bazan takes her history class here, the history of Holocaust class, to the temple here in Madison, and just had a great experience. And it was interesting because on the socials, the people that work there thanked the students for coming and everything. So it's a really nice experience, and they really had a great educational fieldwork experience. So thanks for providing that. And then the Hope Squad were awarded the grant, a mini grant, so congratulations to them, to allow them to be able to visit our younger students and promote inclusion and connection and mental health awareness. So such a great group, amazing. Orchestra students had the string fling, so it's nice to see their pictures. I always love how they do the shirts that are designed by students, and then they do the colors for the grade levels.
That's cute.
Yep.
Let's Go Fly a Kite would be a perfect day for today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
We had a National Paraprofessional Appreciation Day. That just happened, so thank you to our amazing educational assistants who do such a great job. It's just one of those jobs that I think we just don't take enough time to really honor and appreciate. It's really, really hard work, and they are so dedicated to our kids and families. So
And
thank
to
you.
the staff as
Yeah.
well. I mean, they really help
It's real
teachers out
helpful.
tremendously.
It was also a Librarian Appreciation Day, so thank you to our 4 amazing leaders who are involved in so many great things and support not only our students but our staff as well. Great leaders. Speaking of that, it is National Assistant Principals Week. We are so fortunate to have the 5 amazing assistant principals. They have such a hard job.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. It is hard. And so please thank them every time you can, because they are so driven and dedicated. And just a reminder, this Thursday is the Invitation to Wonder. Tickets are selling fast. They're free. But we do ask that you reserve a spot, and so I'm not sure what the latest total is, but yeah, I think we're in the getting to 200. So we're hoping to do that, and a great partnership with the MEF and the Lake Wabisa Conservancy, and just a really great film.
And it's a great way for the public to get to see this beautiful PAC. I mean,
Yep.
it's for free. Great movie.
Yes, and here's some other things. Since we met last, we had Reality Zone here at the high school. We had a band concert. We had a choir vocal tour. We had 4K Spring Craft Night at the end of the 3rd quarter, which is really more relevant to the middle school, but it just reminds us we're 3/4 of the way through the school year. And also, the Eco Club competed in the Renew Our Schools competition. They had a news story about that, so I will send that to you separately.
Was that just last week then?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
that's cool.
Yeah. I wanted to recognize, we have several Cole Award winners for principal leadership. We have Jamie Thomas, so congratulations to her as the middle school principal. And then for our teachers, Christine Punzel, Brenda Rotuno, and Jamie Vizina. So just congratulations to them. It's quite an honor. It's very competitive. I think it's 15 principal leaders and 100 teachers from around the state. So to be in that elite crew.
This district does a
It's
remarkable
amazing.
job. I mean, every year, and I'm not talking for the last 5 or 10 years. I mean,
It's going for.
Bill Garvey,
Yeah.
and,
Way back.
you know, that crew back then, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
We get multiple nominees every year.
We do.
Yeah,
We do.
it is incredible.
It's very nice. A shout out to Grayson Gowitz. Grayson is the only McFarland baseball player to ever hit the cycle.
Huh.
He hit a single, a double, a triple, and a home run in one game.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a big
that's
deal.
amazing.
That's just like crazy.
That is
does not
crazy.
happen often.
Yep.
Wow.
We asked our
That's
baseball
cool.
historian, John Feldner, and he said, I can't think of anybody else, so we're calling it official. So
He's been
congratulations.
there
That's
for
awesome.
2 years.
Yeah, so I think he
So-
covers it.
And is there a, what's the special name for that? There's got to be a special name for
The
it.
cycle.
The
They call it
cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And he pitched.
Whoa, wow.
So yeah.
Jeez.
Uh,
Yeah,
and-
and then took it back, yeah.
And I know that Dean mentioned too, but I wanted just to mention about Derek Schwarting and the response from the community, because I just think it's a moment that we should just pause and say, tragic thing that happened, and our community just shows what they're made of, time and time again. And our broader community, but our school community too.
Yeah.
And, you know, walking through the halls when we came back from spring break was tough. Our teachers were hurting, and our students were hurting, and being at the celebration of life and the visitation on Saturday, there's a sense of community there that is just really special. And I just think it's something we shouldn't take for granted, and, you know, in times of success and celebration and in tough times too. Some things coming up. So, other things coming up, y'all. National Autism Acceptance Month, that's this month.
I know.
You know what else is? It's Hmong Heritage Month and Arab American Heritage Month and National School Library Month and National Multilingual Learners Advocacy Month and Occupational Therapy Month. I think we need more months.
That's a lot of love in
Yeah,
one
we
month.
get all
We
in
get to,
before the
we
end
get
of
to
the
do a lot of
year.
celebrating. Yeah, it's true.
As you know, it's Associate Principals Week. We also have an election tomorrow, so if you
do.
haven't voted already, be sure to do so. The McFarland Schools Equity Collective is meeting on Wednesday night, so you're welcome to join us there. We're talking about financial needs of our students and families. The 9th is the Prisoner of War Remembrance Day, and we have the film also on the 9th. The Day of Silence is on the 10th, where we stand with our LGBTQ plus friends and promote understanding and acceptance. It's American Creed Day on the 13th, where we honor the political aspiration of the United States governments, the ideals, of liberty, equality, justice, and humanity. Then we get to be together next Monday night for a work session where we reflect on how we're doing. We have the pre-ACT coming up, Bandorama coming up, dialogue dinner with our new hires and their mentors coming up, 5th grade art and music showcase. We've got the staff development coming up on the 17th, Patriots Day on the 19th, where we remember the brave people who helped during the American Revolutionary War. And then we're back here on the 20th for a full board meeting.
Yeah.
Those are my recognitions. What do y'all have?
I wanted to give a shout out to Joe Hartson at the last band concert. They did a wonderful piece about, I don't remember the name of it.
No one asked you.
But it was maybe it was D-Day, but it was basically war related, and they made lots of sounds that were, reminiscent of war. And
Yeah.
he did a call out at the beginning of the song to kind of recognize anyone who has sensory issues, might have PTSD that gets triggered. Like, we want this to be an enjoyable experience for you, giving you an opportunity to walk out if you need to. And I just thought it's just a really, we are trying to encourage inclusion here, and that's just one of the ways that we do it, by recognizing that people have different lived experiences, and one song that's really beautiful to some people might be really, negatively impacting them, and just giving people an opportunity to be themselves and do what they have to do for themselves. So The Lonely Beach. I don't know.
Could be
I don't
a first.
remember.
Did you search it out?
Like
I
I'm
thought
sorry,
you
I
said
don't remember.
the lonely peach. And I was like, oh, what's wrong with the
That doesn't
fruit?
seem- yeah.
No, it was a long song. It was, I mean, yeah. And it was so well done, but just appreciated that.
Good
you know.
example.
Yeah, exactly. So, yep. Anyone else?
I guess I could say I just visited the primary school, and it was just such a wonderful experience. I got to read the day before and to the kids, and that was just so much fun. And they had, so much. It was just exciting with 4-year-olds. And Walter the Wily Walleye was what I was reading, and they were having fun. And then I went back the next morning to get to see it, and that school just has so much just happening. I was really pleased, but it was kind of mixed feelings with Greg, the principal, and so it's kind of again, I have a mixed feeling about the whole thing.
Yes,
That school presents itself
Oh, it's just beautiful.
really, I mean, it
was
looks
really neat.
just spanking new
yeah.
every time you go in there.
I'm reading tomorrow. I'm super psyched.
That's right. You guys are up
Wonderful.
So
It's
Yeah.
much fun.
It's so much fun.
I read today, and it was just a good reminder. They called you out. They were like, remember, she's friends with Mr. Fisher. And
Aw.
following in your footsteps. So that was sweet. But it's such a good way to,
Yeah.
remember what it's like to be around 4-year-olds. My kids are
Yeah.
so, that's way long in the distance, not so much for you. But, and it's just cute. Like, I read Bear Snores On, and, the kids don't know what snore means. And so they're like, what? And, oh, that bear's really sleepy. It just keeps snoring, and then, little kids in the front row are playing with my shoes, and you just remember, all these, they're just being adorable.
Am I
little
going to want to
humans.
hug them all?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably
I should
so.
probably get there a little early.
It's really great.
It's a really,
Yeah.
it's definitely a bucket filler type thing.
I got
to
the
do.
books in my car right now, so I can,
Nice.
prepare.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's, I think you had a good setup there, Bruce, just to acknowledge that, as you approved tonight on your consent agenda, that Greg Nelson has resigned, is relocating, and we are certainly going to miss his leadership. I met with the primary school building leadership team today to talk about next steps for the process, and, congratulations to him, excited for him, and this big change in his life, but we're sad to lose him and appreciate him for all he's done.
And Greg,
True.
you had incredible words to the community and the families. We got your words, and your leadership and guidance will be missed, but best of luck to you in a much warmer climate.
I think most people find it hard to understand that being a primary school teacher is really different
Yeah.
than being
Yeah, it is.
any other kind of school teacher. If I, had noticed one thing over the years, that the primary was, kind of a solid block to themselves a lot of times. But it's a great treat to go in there every single time. And if you, like you said, if you want to fill a little bucket someday, go read to a bunch of kindergartners.
Yep, exactly. It's true. All right, anything else? All right, then we have, let's see, one discussion item with possible action. And do you want to give us a little previously on?
So just, I would hope the board members remember,
Yeah.
but for the public that's watching, at our last board meeting, and Michelle Garvey talked about that in her public comment today, we had a presentation with a proposal to rename the Performing Arts Center after Bill Garvey. Bill Garvey was a teacher here, I believe, for 31 years, and we heard at our last meeting about his impact on our students, our staff, and more importantly, our broader community. And so the proposal was brought forward for your consideration. I will point to you that you do have at your spot, and you've seen this before, the policy 7250 about commemoration of school facilities. That was referenced during the presentation. Actually, at the last meeting, but that is your guide. And so you are the only people that can name a facility. And so I wanted to make sure you have that in that context. And at this point, it's meant to be a discussion, and then, take it from there. If someone makes a motion, then there may be possible action. So wanted to have an opportunity for you. You were listeners last time, and now we are listening to you.
Yes, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, so Aaron already kind of covered what our options are. We want to discuss the proposal. If there's any action that a board member wants to propose, then we make that motion and we can vote on it. But I think the other piece of history that we need to consider, especially as this board considers this, I kind of want to frame the discussion. It was the five of us. It wasn't unanimous, but the five of us who chose to rename Conrad Elving Primary School to McFarland Primary School.
It was 4.
Yeah, that's why I said
Yeah,
it was not
yes,
unanimous.
Tom was not here. Tom is
Oh,
not
that's
here.
true.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
was
Yeah.
actually
Okay.
there.
Good point.
Yeah,
Meredith
that's
was
true.
not.
I'm sorry.
point.
Meredith,
was
it just
not.
feels like you've been with us for all time now.
It was just before that. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
Okay.
Tom and I look a
Yes.
lot alike, so.
My- I will say no, but thank you for correcting me,
That's all
Bruce. Yes, sorry, Mr. Mooney. So the majority of us were part of the discussion about that whole process, the community engagement committee that we had asked to do research and then make a recommendation, and then the board at the time voted to accept their recommendation to remove Conrad's name. So I think with that, and then also, some other very topical things happening right now with Cesar Chavez, and all of the things that are coming to light about his allegations. I think what I'd like to do with this discussion is, I feel like there's kind of two parts of it that we consider. As a school district, how and when do we impact truly impactful people in our community? It is clear that Bill was truly impactful in our community. There is nothing. I mean, if we're gonna rename a facility, he is worthy. Like, I don't think that anyone would disagree with me there. But I think the other part of that is that in the how and when, is renaming facilities part of that? So I really want to separate the discussion from Bill and first talk about, is renaming facilities something that we want to do, period, after people? Does anyone have thoughts that they want to share first?
Yeah, I will comment. And it's going to be hard to separate the two, as you said, so I'll try my best. I was originally not in favor of I guess I've been kind of opposed of having things named for people, and I think I have gone through quite a change. And the more I started thinking about it and talking with various people, the idea if we try to put down some rules, guidance,
Criteria.
thank you, criteria for what it's going to be, I think it's important we don't paint ourselves into corners. My strength was that I was a teacher. My weakness is that I was a teacher. I think is very apparent as I sit here. One of the things you never want to do as a teacher, you never want to do this as a parent either, is put yourself in a situation where you go like, oh crap, I've said I wasn't going to allow this or whatever, and all of a sudden you do that. And I don't know how to say it better than, if you make this thing so tight that you can't name it, then I think in the end you run the risk of, I don't know. I just think sometimes you need to be flexible. The best way I would say this is when the Constitution was founded by our founding fathers, they left room with the necessary and proper clause to give them a chance to adjust. And I kind of think that is what we should also be mindful of. That there are going to be times when all of a sudden you go like, yeah, sometimes rules are meant to be broken or to be bent or whatever you're going to say. Again, that idea of being trapped in a corner when all of a sudden you go like, oh, that doesn't make any sense for this. And this is where I kind of go into that other segment and start talking about Bill. Bill is such an exceptional person, and the whole Garvey family that I go like, is this where you want to say, no, we don't do that? You'll have to forgive me. I shared this with my wife, and my wife is such an amazing individual, and she has such incredible common sense, and I tend to be more of an artist or whatever, and my brain has gone all over the place. But Jane said, well, if something happened, why wouldn't you rename it? And then I suddenly looked at this thing and I go, let me put on my glasses. Naming and renaming school district facilities is the responsibility of the school board. I felt like that is our job. And as much as it was a difficult decision with the Conard Alvin, and we spent weeks, months really going over it, in some ways we're perhaps still talking about that issue, at least that committee I'm on, I'm going like, but that's our job. And I don't know if that's bad to do. You can put it down black and white and say no under no circumstance, whatever. And I'm going like, but there's times I think you need to kind of be able to be flexible. That necessary and proper clause, thank God we had it, because this Constitution is going on, well, not quite 250 years, but it's about 240-something years. And it's because we have allowed that flexibility that needs to be there. So that would be my feeling. It's just that I don't know if you really can make a hard and fast rule that's just going to fit all the cases. I know we started with the Angie O'Donnell Aquatic Center. We've named the Lloyd Schneider Stadium.
Bill.
Well, certainly the Bill Rice football field. And I just think in some ways, let every school board have to consider that. I mean, it's something that's part of tradition. You're going back to a time that people really felt very strongly about. So I'll leave that there. I would like to talk about Bill again, so if you don't mind,
Sure.
Mr.
Yeah, we can bring that in
Yeah.
at the end.
Sorry,
So-
Megan.
Is it okay if I chime in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we can take turns, we can just chime in.
So
whatever you
I
want.
will say, when the proposal first came to us to rename the PAC, I was kind of like I feel like I had feelings after the Conrad Elvium McFarland Primary School conversation and transition. And the Garvey family presentation blew me away. I love a good presentation. And, I know the Garvey family, obviously, because, the kids were my kids' teachers and whatnot. And just to see the outpouring of support and hearing the stories of Bill, also big Mike LaCrone fan, so seeing him here in the flesh, I was like, woo, little fangirl moment. And to that point, I really like Bruce's notion of, having some flexibility, and also if we take action on the potential renaming, it's a renaming based on joy and not based on negativity that is spurning the need to rename something. And so that's just kind of something that has stuck with me, is just the joy and love and positivity that comes with what Bill brought to our community.
Yeah, that's true. Does anyone else have any?
I think I've also wavered kind of back and forth, and I appreciate you as our president leading us down kind of this path of two separate decisions. It is hard to disentangle them, but I think it's important as we are the board. I mean, that this is our role, this is our job, this is what we were we were elected to do. So I think twofold. I, as a governing body, if you will, I struggle with saying if someone does or does not have the characteristics that meet the qualities of renaming. Clearly, as you stated when you first started talking, that Bill would definitely meet it, but meet what is it? And I think that's where I've struggled with in our role, how do we define it? And maybe it is saying it's up to each board to define what that is. I think it, yes, does not paint us into a corner, but I think it also allows us to focus on something that may or may not be the most important thing that we need to be focusing on for the students in our district. And that's what we're here for. So I think that's not an answer to your question about what like a hard line one way or the other. I think it's also, as someone who's a McFarland transplant, I learned so much. And so I still have my blue folder. Because it is important to know, like these letters that you read, like it's the feeling when we moved here is like, well, it's just the community we have. Well, that really defines that community, right? Like that feeling you get when you read about the people who came before, that's what you get. I wonder if there are ways that we can highlight that feeling in a different way versus naming. And the reason I say that is having younger kids, if I say we're going to the Performing Arts Center, there's kind of this understood, like, that's what it is. And it being the McFarland Performing Arts Center, there's a location attached to that, which I think is important. But it's also, if I say we're going to the Bill Garvey Center, I think I don't always feel equipped to share everything I know about that particular person to say that's why we're going there, like Angie O'Donnell. But if there's information in more than a plaque, because that's not sufficient, like I'm passionate that it's not sufficient, but a way to highlight Bill in a way where people can see all of this and make it tangible in such a way that, like, you get to learn about someone and engage with that history a little bit differently. Maybe that's more meaningful. I don't know. This is a hard conversation. That's
true.
not
It
obvious
is.
by my blabbering on.
No, it is. I mean, it is. That's why I wanted to separate it.
Yeah,
Because it's hard. It is clear that, the joy and the everything that Bill brought is really important, and our district would not be the same without him having contributed. And, let's just talk about the renaming of facilities. The one thing I do, is there anything that you want to say, Craig? Before I can talk about my things if you still want a few minutes.
The only reason it gets kind of
Hey, thank you.
kind of squishy is that it's very difficult. I've been involved in a couple of other initiatives here at the school vis-a-vis a Hall of Fame. A lot of other schools have this. And when you finally start to sit down and try to lay out criteria in order to become a member of this club, which we don't have, that makes it, you deal with it on a more personal level probably than you might ordinarily want to. But one thing that Bruce and I have always brought to the board is historical perspective. I sat at those basketball games that Bill Garvey would bring our 100-piece pep band in and plop them down right next to the opponent's student section. And every time they tried to raise their voice, the band started. Just things like that, you know? It was an experience to participate in some of the same activities that Bill and Michelle and, you know, their entire family have done for a long time. So it's, I think generally you need to use great caution before you undertake something along these lines. But I've lived in the town since the middle 60s. I graduated from here in 1971, and I really haven't gone away until now. You know, I just have always kind of been a part of the school district, and if we are going to rename facilities or honor in whatever way, you know, we decide to do, I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with a case-by-case evaluation of, you know, what certain people meant to the school and the school district and the community in general. I think that's a lot of what separates Bill from many other people who have done incredible things within the district, is he, you know, took it upon himself to go out and start a community band. So there was something to do on, I don't know, Thursday nights or Wednesday nights, whenever it was, down at the park downtown. And he was beloved. You know, all you had to do was be in this building for his visitation. And, I mean, it was pretty overwhelming,
Yeah.
truthfully. So, I guess what I'm saying is that I personally do not have any issue with renaming the Performing Arts Center after Bill.
Okay. Thank you all for sharing your perspectives. Some of the thoughts that I had or have about it is, one, I want to recognize some of the feedback that we received from emails to the board. You know, there was concern that the Performing Arts Center is not just about band. There's a lot of other things that happen there, so that's something to consider. There was some concern about also recognizing Gene Olson in some way. You know, and some of your presentation addressed that. We received feedback about, you know, the amount of work, even when it's supported, even when everybody wants it to happen, there's a significant amount of work that isn't really tangible in terms of a cost, like a dollar cost, in terms of when we rename a facility and when we, you know, rebrand it and things like that. I think what some of my feelings about renaming facilities is that I think there's inherent risk in naming facilities after people. I think that, you know, values and criteria, like you were saying, Craig, like criteria changes for how we judge behavior and how we judge who gets recognized and when they get recognized and things like that. And that evolves over time, and I think it's and I think the other piece of this, in terms of, you know, you said this, Meredith, time and resources in public education is getting just shorter and shorter and less. And there's a part of me that feels like, you know, even if it's not about the actual funds coming from, you know, the school's pockets, there's still a cost because we have people working on that. You know, it was a lot of effort to bring together the Conrad Albium community engagement thing. And I think, you know, and it's one thing to name a facility after someone, but then when you learn new information or someone else proposes to rename them after someone new, I feel like there's, you know, that, that precedent of how much effort we put into making sure that we're getting, you know, feedback from the community and how much effort and time that takes. And so that makes it challenging to decide. I mean, I don't know. I think not so much the naming, but the renaming or the unnaming puts a toll on districts that we don't really have the resources to. I don't think it's what we should be focusing on necessarily. And this is nothing to do with Bill.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to do with Bill. This is really just about, for me, you know, how we're using our resources, how we're setting up the district for success in the future. You know, I don't know, I think it's just, we just can't predict how people will feel in the future, and have, you know, unforeseen consequences, about this kind of stuff. So, which is also not to say, I mean, then the other piece of this is, okay, so whether we do or do not rename facilities, how are the other ways that we honor people? And I think, I mean, to your point, Bruce, about painting ourselves into a corner, if we're just gonna honor people by naming facilities after them, is it, you know, that limits us in terms of, we only have so many facilities, you know? And so I wonder if that's a consideration. So, I mean, I will go on record to saying that I personally don't feel like we should name facilities after people anymore. I think we're learning in our political environment, in our equity environment, that there's some risk there that I don't really want to take on for our district. That's not to say that I think there's lots of different options to honor people, and lots of different ways. And I liked your piece of like how, even in a way, like renaming is one thing, but something that's even more commemorative, that gives even more information about the legacy, you know? I think that's something to consider. I don't know.
Could I?
Yeah, no, this is a discussion, please.
Okay,
We're so used to just.
And I do
I
want to
know.
warn you, we have gone over our 20 minutes.
that's fine.
Yeah.
To me, this
Designated.
is important.
Yep.
In 2008, I believe, I went to Russia with a group of educators, and we visited their schools. And the thing that probably more than any single thing that just blew me away is that every school had its own museum of famous alumni, famous business people, musicians, athletes, writers, politicians. It was amazing, the number of things, professors. And they have this little room. I hate to say it, folks, we're in a point where we don't have that money, because I think that would be the way to do it, but that's really expensive. And Craig, you bring up the other thing, it can get to be very, very political. My feeling is I wouldn't change a whole lot. I mean, if you read Part B, it kind of answers part of your question that you were asking, Meredith. If a facility is named or renamed for a person, it shall be for an individual who has attained prominence locally, nationally, or in the field of education, science, art, citizenship, political leadership, or military achievement. An early pioneer of McFarland, Dane County, and it goes on, state of Wisconsin, outstanding presidents. If it's named for a living person, the board shall obtain written consent from that person. I didn't know that. That's interesting. So about this invite coming up. The point being that I think it's I don't want to be crass, but it's a relatively simple way to call it the Bill Garvey Performing Arts Center, just like the Angie O'Donnell Aquatic Center. Interesting, the person who talked about naming that Angie O'Donnell was none other than Katie Heiser, who is now, I believe, the president of the MEF, and who, if you ask me, probably should have her name up there because she's done probably as much for the swimming program as anyone I can think of. I don't know. I mean, Michelle, you said it yourself. I don't think Bill could give a hoot one way or the other. I've thought about this long and hard, but I mean, in some ways, we're doing it because he taught thousands of students in this district. Many of them still live here. And yes, if you are a transplant, you probably don't necessarily know that. But the truth of the matter is, we live in a world where the 70%ers, and I call them, they're the old fogies like myself, who don't have kids in the school, but they remember this community, and they remember Bill. And I think it's important. And in 2016, when we put on that referendum, it turns out, I don't know how, because I had no interest in getting involved with anything involved with school boards. So it's kind of ironic, here I am. But the truth is, they said, would you be willing to sign this? I think Andrew Bedell himself asked, would I be willing to say that I support the idea of building this new theater? And I said, this community has needed a big theater. We need it. But it was about the community. And I think Bill, in some ways, epitomizes. It's a community that we're doing. It's that, but then also we in education, and no offense, maybe it's because I was a teacher, but I so strongly, I hear people talk about, oh, teachers, and we'll buy them donuts, and we'll do things like that, but I'm going like, you know what? When I'm grading those papers on a Sunday night, and it was up for I don't know how many hours, you know, the donuts didn't do it. I'm sorry. I want to have someone say, you made a difference, and I'm really proud that we've named this after a teacher. And there's something special about that. And then I will just go off on the other part, which is this woman taught in this district for probably close to 30 years. She is, I understand, and I'm going to embarrass you, so I won't give a figure, but I'm telling you, that family has given tens of thousands of dollars to this district. Two of their children teach here. The spouse of the other one teach here. These are amazing people. And I'm going like, I don't know how to say it because I don't think it's right, but you have to acknowledge this is an amazing family. And they've done incredible things, and I think the public is aware of that. I just think they will. I think it is our job. I guess I don't worry about that. I don't know what else I can say.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's true. I think, yeah, I don't disagree. The Garvey family is, I mean, the legacy almost exists within the fact that all of Bill's immediate family has been a huge part of the district, and current employees, former employees. I mean, that says a lot to how he, you know, taught that it was so important to be a part of your community and how important this was. Yeah, I think the other risk of naming facilities after people is that not everybody has the same experience with people. I think the likelihood of someone having a different experience with Bill Garvey than what we've been told is very low, but it is still, you know, people, you know, if people had seen Conrad Alvium on the primary school, some people would have a different reaction to that now. And I think we have to recognize that there might be other experiences out there and other feelings too, even though it is clear that there is overwhelming community. You know, we've heard from a lot of people who support this. And again, I'm just really feel strongly that I hope people hear me when I say this is not about Bill for me. This is about renaming facilities. So.
Megan, can I just add something to that?
Please do,
Because I
please do.
Naming a facility is a huge undertaking. I will go back to your comment about, I truly don't believe we could find somebody that would be opposed to naming the facility. I don't think there would. I mean, you have document in front of you that has 100 names. If I would have probably started sooner, it could have been 1,000 people writing in comments about Bill. And it just goes to attest to what a great guy he was and person. And he was Mr. Community. And he was very instrumental. He fought long and hard to get the orchestra program going. It was not going when he was here, when he first started.
That was my first vote on the school board.
He was key in that he was animate that it needed to get going. But, so he's not just Mr. Band. He reflects, and the performing arts part of it really does reflect. He was good friends with Gene Olson. And he would have Gene narrate, like I remember he had Gene narrate one of his concerts for, this was when you could do Christmas stuff, the night before Christmas, and he had Gene narrating it while the band played along. So he was co with that. Stepping into, I do agree that it's just not, you can't just change a name, there's gotta be some education in that. One of my visions for, if this would go through, would be to create a learning part when people walked in, who was Bill Garvey, blah, 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 and that kind of thing. And then hopefully to add to that, as we progress along, to adding a Hall of Fame, or I was even thinking about just listing all of the, having a board, similar to some things we do with even like Student of the Month plaque. It's just a plaque of past band directors and current band directors, past choir directors, current, past orchestra directors, current, past choir directors, current, all the main parts of the performing arts. Having that has a display somewhere in the, and I agree, it's not just a simple process. You just can't say, okay, we're gonna change the name and then go. And it does require time and it does require energy. But I do feel that I can get people who will donate time and effort to that problem. I'm a retired teacher. I have time. So, and I have people who can help with that. Will it cost the district some? Yes. But and because staff time and time in that is huge, but I can 95% guarantee that we can get people that can help and help make it a worthwhile thing.
Yeah,
So I just
thank
wanted
you.
to reassure you that I understand it's not just a,
Yeah,
and I respect your opinion, and I get it.
thank you.
Naming things are scary and they're hard, and what if something does come up? Because I can sit here and say, oh yeah, nobody's gonna know, but there could be, you know. So I understand and I appreciate your concern.
thank you.
And everyone's thoughts on that.
Thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. Yep. And I really don't think that anything will come up with Bill that's really, I mean, I really just, it's, yes. We did get one email that was opposed to renaming. It wasn't about Bill, though. It was just about opposed to renaming
To just
facilities.
rename, yeah.
So that's, you're right. We haven't heard anything from anybody that has said, don't rename after Bill because of Bill. So that's, it's
No,
been
and
for
I
other
totally
reasons.
understand you're in a position as a board where you're looking down for the future of, you know, and I get it. It's not,
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle.
yeah.
And I think thank you for the additional comments. I think that's helpful. We did get additional comments of the location-specific information. For example, when we did the Angie O'Donnell Aquatic Center, that no longer says where we are located and where folks are coming to. And so I think that's the location of our Performing Arts Center and the fact that it is a community location could be lost when we have a name attached to it of you may not know where it is. And I think we also have businesses that use some of the facilities for their business. And so I think it impacts them as well as an entity that does you know, people come to and want and rent, and it is a business. So yeah, and I just repeating after you that for me, this is not a decision about Bill. It's a decision about renaming. And I think the committee with a lot of people went back and forth on CEPS, changing to MPS, and I don't think we have the luxury to consider renaming in the future, because it does put us at this crossroads of who meets that criteria. And I think, you know, doing a plaque and doing other things is something that is more easily attainable and redone, if you will, than a full renaming of a facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely respect that, and I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
My gut is, I mean, my request was based on somebody that we know and that directly affected McFarland, and it
Yeah.
did make a difference.
Yeah.
And so like I said, 95% or 100, I would say 100% of me would say there would be, you wouldn't have to go back and look to change the thing. Just like you're not gonna change Angie O'Donnell's name. No. And Angie and Bill were very dear friends. Bill spoke at her funeral. And so, I mean, they were dear, dear friends. And Bill and Bill Rice were dear friends, you know, who the
Yeah.
football field is named after. And
Yeah.
it just, to me, it's acknowledging a McFarland community member who made a difference.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone here is against what he stands for and means to the community. I think when I wear my school board hat, that's just kind of where I land,
Yep.
so.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else? So this would be the point where if someone were to make a motion to make a decision about this proposal, that is what would happen. This would be the opportunity.
You also have the option of, you know, if no one chooses to make a motion now, a motion could be made as long as it's on the agenda at a future meeting.
That's true.
You don't have to do it at this meeting. You can do it at this meeting because it's agendized. If someone would want to do it at a future meeting, you couldn't just pull it out of the blue. It'd have to have been on the agenda prior to
That's true.
you taking actions.
And there could be
Just to be
other
clear.
options that we would consider, whether it's
Yeah.
naming something, you know, as part of the Performing Arts Center, the Black Box Theater currently, doing a Hall of Fame, that's the Bill Garvey Hall of Fame. You know, we don't have to make a motion that's limited to the proposal, but,
Don't we sort of have to?
no.
You would have
To
to make if you were gonna make a motion today, it would have to be commemoration of
On-
a school facility.
Just
Yeah,
on that.
that's true, yes.
That's what's on the agenda.
Yes.
School facility, okay.
Which doesn't necessarily mean a name, it's just a commemoration, as defined in the policy.
Yep, true.
I'm just,
Okay.
And Meredith, I also just wanted to say with your respects to the name, it
Yeah.
wouldn't say McFarland Performing Arts Center, but in all of my experiences in going to different soccer arenas with my kids and everything like that, a lot of them don't say the name of the location. So,
And I'm just bringing that up because
Yeah.
it was also something
Yeah.
that was brought to the board separately.
No, I
So
get it.
I'm just trying to address everyone's vantage
Well, and
points.
and in that case, in the Angie O'Donnell Aquatic Center, the pool actually has a different name than the Aquatic Center. The pool is McFarland Community Pool, and that's what is kind of, how do you find it, you know, is,
It was purposely
is-
branded that way.
yes. And then the whole facility is named Angie O'Donnell. So that's another distinction. So,
Well, I wonder if folks are gonna change their minds between now and whatever, next week or
2 weeks.
the week after, or, so I think I'll make a motion
all right.
to commemorate by renaming the McFarland Performing Arts Center to the Bill Garvey Performing Arts Center, or William Garvey, or whatever the family would prefer to do.
I think we have to be a little more specific in the motion. And it's not something that we have a version of anywhere.
I know.
We don't have it in here.
No.
Nope, I did not write that for to consider.
ChatGPT? I'm just kidding.
Just talk it through.
Yeah,
Through.
I mean, if it, so,
You're not gonna see.
You're not
it.
gonna
It's
find
not
it
in there.
No, I know it's not in there. I was just looking for a better way to word it, maybe.
Mhm. The proposal that was brought to you
Mm-hmm.
was to rename the McFarland Performing Arts Center, the Bill Garvey Performing Arts Center. That's
Yes.
my recollection. That was what was the proposal.
That isn't what I said,
Yeah, I think that is what you said.
was it?
Yeah,
I think you said it was
Well-
up to the family, so I think
Yeah.
it needs to be
It
more
was-
specific.
Oh, I get you, the name
Sorry.
part of it. Okay. All right, Bill Garvey Performing Arts Center.
so are you making a motion to to rename the McFarland Performing Arts Center the
Basically,
Bill
that's it.
Garvey Performing Arts Center?
Yep.
Okay,
I will
I
second
have-
that.
all right, Fisher. Any further discussion before we vote? No? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
All right. So the motion carries 3-2. All right. Okay. Thank you.
And I want to thank you, and Megan and Meredith, I respectfully say I understand, and I'm.
It's not a personal decision at all.
It's not
This-
personal,
Not
you're
at
acting
a
on
bit.
behalf of the board,
Yep.
and I totally get it. And I appreciate all 5 of you for giving me the audience, and Aaron, and for
Yeah.
giving, actually, McFarland and a lot of his students the audience. And I will personally guarantee to help with the process and make it
Okay.
an educational kind of
Yeah.
situation, and I'll work with Aaron and the board to
Wonderful.
help foresee this, so it is a very low cost. It will be a cost, but it will be, I'll try to make it as most cost
Appreciate that.
efficient
Yeah.
as possible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No extra gold or anything.
I'll try.
Old leaf on the edges.
I'll try. And thank you from the bottom of my heart, so.
It is
Yep.
about education.
What?
It is about education.
Mhm.
That's what we're here for.
Thank you for sharing Bill with
Yep.
us, or with me.
Yeah.
So, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
It
you.
was unique.
Yeah.
And he was a teacher too, and I go back to what Bruce said, it's very heartwarming to have something named after an educator.
Mhm.
Yeah.
'cause
Absolutely.
It's important.
Yeah.
Thank
Like
you.
I said,
Well
if
said.
we-
Yeah.
Thank you.
he's
Welcome.
Thank you, Michelle.
definitely worthy, meets all the criteria.
Yeah.
So that's, all right. All right, thank you all for that. I know that was a hard conversation.
Yeah.
And
Thank you to all of us for being respectful. Like, I
Yep.
think that's sometimes,
Mhm.
anyway.
The sign of
Continue.
a good board, you guys.
Yes, thanks, Michelle.
Just wait till.
Because we like each other.
Just wait till after.
No, that
So
is
the
not
outgoing
true.
board member said.
Right.
about the
Why don't you say
kindest
that
soul
into
on
the mic there,
planet,
Craig?
Craig Howery.
Oh, boy. Yep,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Michelle.
Good
Have a
night,
good night.
Michelle.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so then we are on to our next action item. And that is the action on approval of the Education for Employment academic and career planning, and PI 26 implementation plan. I believe we have Ms. Emily Kinzer
Yes, our
joining
Director
us.
of Teaching and Learning, Emily Kinzer, is
Yes.
going to give you a bit of an overview.
Thank you for staying late.
Yep, thank you for your patience as we talked through that important.
Don't
topic.
take offense, but I'm going to step out for you.
Yep.
This is the best part.
I'll be back.
So I just want to give a shout out as I was working to prepare this plan, which again is a statutorily required piece. But for me, being newer in this role, it was also an opportunity for me to call the, Kate Hippenbecker elementary counselor. And I was like, what does this look like at K2? Like, give me some examples. And then talking to Fred Bartman at the middle school and Leslie and Annie at the high school are sort of taking the lead on academic and career planning, as well as Penny Thompson. So it was a nice excuse to both get to know some people better, but also to learn more about the programming that we have. So
You've got a tremendous mentor program
Yes.
that is probably takes second to none.
I mean, I was blown away by the number of opportunities that
Yeah.
kids have here. And I was like, I don't remember any of this from when I was in high school. Maybe we didn't have it at
Right?
Madison East, but we do have it here. And so I'm just going to sort of use the slides to talk through some of the highlights about what I both learned and would like to share with you as part of what our programming is here in McFarland. So again, there was a big team of people that helped me both write the report specifically, but also just who are engaged in this work. And it looks really different at the different levels, but it's very collaborative, and it's student services, it's administrators, me, but then also people from the community, business people, family, parents coming in to, speak about a profession that they're engaged in. So it's just a lot of different people pulling together in the same direction to support our kids to be ready for whatever their future careers are going to look like. So Angie, you can go ahead. Okay, so first I'm going to tell you just a little bit about what this programming looks like at K5. So this is a lot of focus. It's less career-y and more like social emotional learning, like who am I as a person? What strengths and talents do I have? And then just sort of logistically in the world, like why do people go to work? What types of work do people do? Younger kids often see what their own parents might do for jobs, and they might interact with a police officer, a nurse, a firefighter, right? Some of those more prominent things, but just expanding that as well. Starting to think about what conditions people work under, levels of training, right? So hearing what sort of qualifications might be required. And this is touched on in a variety of courses. So teachers teaching content try to bring in, this sort of thinking about, geometric shapes might be used for people who are planning and building bridges. Look at all the triangles in the bridge here, right? Just really pretty basic things, but also drawing kids' attention to where some of these applications may lay. And then in our social emotional learning lessons, a lot of that self-awareness and frankly, those like soft skills that are more essential than ever in any type of profession. Those things are the foundation for that is created in K5. Mm-hmm. So just an example of what that looks like at the elementary school. This is the Community Helpers Project, and this is a panel of folks answering questions and sharing about their careers. So that's EMT, firefighter, I think police officer, librarian, just different roles, and kids hearing from them about where they went to school and what their job looks like on a day-to-day basis. It's very cute. Okay, and as we move into middle school, it starts to become more explicitly like career exploration and really helping kids know what options are out there. We use a program called Zello, which is a platform that it has lessons can be pushed out through that platform, but it also has like self-reflection and survey activities. My own daughter just came home and said that professional athlete was on her Zello career match, and she's a sixth grader, and she was pumped because that's what she has in her own head. So I'm like, yes,
What
awesome.
sport?
Soccer.
Awesome.
I'm like, you go, girl. So it's just helping people think about what all is out there, looking at their personal preferences and strengths in relation to career options. And it can also include some career-based learning experiences and research based on those personal preferences and strengths. So an example of that is Real World Day, where a little different from the panel of the community helpers, we've got a more in-depth deep dive where people have come in and they're sharing how is DNA used to solve a crime? And you'll notice he's blending fruit here. I missed the nuances of exactly how that's connected, but Fred Bartman knows. He told me, I just forgot. But just more the hands-on, right? Like a beautician or a hairstylist, like showing some of her products and what that really looks like. The bottom one, I don't know if you can see, is a pilot talking about what the day-to-day looks like in that career. So again, it's exposure still at middle school, but it's a lot of, as kids are going through their own identity journeys and figuring out who they are and who they might want to be, and just helping them consider the vast range of possibilities that are out there for them. Again, beyond what they might like narrowly see in their day-to-day or what their families might do for a living.
I mean, to that point, when some of this was shared with us ahead of time, and I think what really struck me is that it is so much of what's happening in those early years and how exposure to kids, like that's where that representation really matters, like seeing women in STEM and seeing people of color as, doing all the things that people never used to see them doing, like represented,
Yeah, I love that.
like, and I love that's what we're doing at those levels, like exposing them to all the different
These
options.
careers could be for you, right? It's not just limited to a certain subset of people,
Right.
but
Exactly.
yeah,
But
that's
that-
so important.
And the middle school is so important to start thinking about then. So what classes should I start kind of gravitating towards and into? And I think that's such an important component to the whole thing as well.
That's a perfect segue.
Thank you.
Because then in high school, when students get to select more of their own choices, right, it's less of just the programming or, there's a few things in middle school. Students can try French and Spanish and decide which one or pick a musical instrument. But a lot more individualized instruction in high school. And again, in my process of talking with lots of different people, I think we do an amazing job here in this district of providing lots of resources and lots of opportunities for kids in high school to try things out, to really research something deeply, to know themselves well, to get advice and guidance, and then eventually possibly doing things like youth apprenticeship, or we're increasing the number of dual credit courses. So that's kind of another push. So we have a new college and career readiness course that'll be offered next year. We have a Spanish 5 course that's currently dual credit at UW. So it's just really cool the ways that our high school staff are super thoughtfully making the school experience at 9-12 as relevant as possible and setting kids up for success the best that we can. So this is also, of course, happening in academic classes, right? Like making those more overt connections to the career fields. And just that last one, instruction and experience in developing and refining the skills and behaviors needed by pupils to obtain and retain employment. So that's helping kids focus on some of those like executive functioning skills like time management or organization of materials, those pieces that in a job, as well as, of course, the interpersonal skills and the self-advocacy and just all of those components that are so essential. And so just the day-to-day work of teachers and student services to provide coaching in those areas, I just think is really powerful.
That just reminds me of when we talked about like the school survey, the student surveys, like group projects. They will always be a thing.
Yeah, right,
Right.
exactly.
Yep, even in adulthood. So just some examples. This is a more robust list at high school because it's like this is the time to really make some pretty important decisions about is it enrolling in a 4-year college? Is that what's needed, or the credentials you have to have for the career that kids are feeling like is right for them? with also realizing that it's okay to make changes and it doesn't have to be that one path, right? But setting kids up to be thoughtful in those choices. So things like advising night, where families come in and talk through course selections and that longer range planning of how your choices now affect and impact what opportunities might be available to you later. Work release, like I talked about the dual credit, youth apprenticeship programs, just an incredibly robust program here. I remember from when we reviewed our actually district report card, seeing our numbers of kids involved in this sort of activity compared with other districts. We are punching way above our weight as not that big of a school district, but having a huge range of programming for kids. So that's really special. And then just wanting to highlight the ongoing support from student services, and that's with course selection, goal setting, providing access to those real world experiences, helping kids reflect, and then make post-secondary plans.
I think another example that I've appreciated hearing is also the at graduation, like last year was the first year I got to attend and really participate and listen. And it really, for me, it was asking the question of what are you doing, not where are you going? And that question, I think, is a part of these opportunities that we give from young all the way up through high school of it's not always what one would expect. Anyway.
And it's not like a finite endpoint of like, yep, I made it now, right? But
Yes.
like, what's the process and and being flexible along the way. So just some awesome photos of youth apprenticeship. We've got people placed in all sorts of different spots and just thriving in those spaces. So really cool to see some visuals of that. And then just to highlight briefly of sort of like what's new. So that's kind of a capture of our programming from K through 12. Some things that are happening recently and will continue to happen. So I worked this year with the middle school and high school to align the scope and sequence of lessons and assignments via that Zello platform. There was kids complaining, we did that lesson in middle school. So like, let's work together to make sure that we are hitting all the important components and that we're not being redundant by repeating things because there's lots of great content and lots of things to focus on. So that was something we worked on this year that's really powerful. Information technology literacy standards were updated this year. So working on a as appropriate scope and sequence of like, we don't want to embed too much tech so that we aren't forming the foundations and the knowledge and skills and the human interaction that is the building block for every future, creative endeavor. But eventually, especially as kids move through secondary, if we're introducing digital tools, making sure that we are teaching them how to use those tools and being good digital citizens, et cetera. Again, support for new dual credit courses, and that's something just continuing to have conversations with high school staff about that. And then working with Leslie and Annie, student services at the high school, to make sure that the lessons that are being asked of kids are meaningful to them, and not just sort of a checkbox, but like how are we really helping kids get to know themselves deeply and know themselves over time, and allowing them to adjust their thinking of like, when I started high school, I really thought I might want to do this path, but now I've taken this course and that's super interesting. And so I might actually want to pursue something else. So just as an example on the right there is like a student profile. And then we are returning to that assignment. That was a couple other districts do similar things. But just having kids revisit that year after year of like, how have I changed and grown and developed as an individual, and thinking about what my plans might be for the future. Any questions for me about that?
No,
I don't think so.
great presentation.
Yeah.
Sounds busy.
It is busy.
Sounds busy.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Important work.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I appreciate the alignment.
Thank you
Mm,
very
it was-
much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Yep.
Well done.
Thanks, Emily. All right. So I would look for a motion, that is in our packet to,
I move to approve the education for employment, academic and career planning, and PI 26 implementation plan as recommended by administration.
I'll second.
all right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. All right, and then our next one is action on the 26-27 CISA 2 contract. Aaron, do you want to, are you able to give us a little background there?
It's standard annual contract.
Yeah,
So.
I like
we ask
Staniel.
you, yeah, you're welcome. Every year, we come to you and we tell you the services that we plan to use from CISA 2 and for our contract with them. The valuable resource saves the district actually a lot
A
of
lot of money.
money by using CISA 2
yeah,
as a consortium model with other area districts.
all right, great.
A good example of being financially responsible.
Yes, exactly. Sharing resources. Yep. Okay, I would look for a motion to approve the contract.
I move to approve the 2026-27 CISA 2 contract as recommended by administration.
I will second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, now we have our action on the first reading of some policies that we have here. We can go through like we typically do and discuss them one by one. And let's see.
I had a question on that, is it 1213, I believe?
Yep, that's the first one we'll start with.
Right. I don't know, maybe it doesn't make sense, but I was wondering, should we talk about in the actual writing, and I don't have it in the reading itself, or I guess the proposal itself, should adding and/or staff, it talked about the harm to welfare of students, but also and staff. I'm trying to remember how I worded that thing. Sorry, you have to forgive me. I
No,
gotta
you're
look that
right,
up.
and that's, yeah.
And I just thought, could it potentially affect staff?
The policy
Well, yeah, it's,
that you're referring to is
yeah,
1213, student supervision and welfare.
right, and I gotta find it, sorry.
That's okay.
I think when you, Bruce, the first part of it, are you talking about like the first sentence where there's a change where it's and/or harm to the welfare of the student or
Right.
students?
That's it.
I don't know if it makes any difference, but is there a policy for non-student supervision and welfare? Like thinking like if this is for student specific, is there something similar for staff?
I don't think there is.
Okay.
Would-
I don't know, I'm just
you know,
asking.
It's specific, this policy and the next ones coming up, which are all related to supervision, is about student supervision specifically.
Yeah, my point being that sometimes staff are involved in this supervision and the welfare of kids, and then it turns out somehow they're put in a position where all of a sudden they get the blame, or they could be impacted.
Oh, so what you were
Some-
saying is.
Yeah,
Result in a liability to the district.
that's what
and
it is.
Personal liability to the administrator, you're saying.
And I said, and to staff is
Oh,
what I was
to
gonna.
add to the staff after
Sure.
administration.
But I don't know if that makes sense. I wasn't sure. I mean, staff are told to do things, and they can sometimes get caught in the middle of it, and that was my question. If that-
Do you have
Yeah.
the page number for that language?
It's right at the front. It's the first
Sorry.
page, right at the top of the paragraph. Administrators are frequently confronted
yeah,
with
okay.
situations which, if handled incorrectly could result in liability to the district and personal liability to the administrator. Oh, I think I know why. I know why.
Good.
So if you, remember how they do the policies? So then if you go to the next one, it's professional staff members are frequently confronted. So it's the
So
same
yes.
thing.
It's the same,
It's
okay.
3 separate policies. And then the next
Yes.
one will be support staff.
Okay, that's fine,
That's
Erin,
true.
and I
Yeah.
apologize for
No,
asking
I
that, but I
gotcha.
just,
Yep.
I know
That's,
staff
they're
can be
3
put.
separate.
Yeah,
Does that make sense to
Yep.
everybody?
Yes.
yep, I apologize.
Yes. So that addresses your concern,
It
then,
concerns-
right?
I'm just glad I
Okay.
figured it out.
Nice job.
Way to
It's
read
terrible, I
between
have
the
notes and I
lines.
can't figure it
That's
out.
right. Any other questions about that one?
The only other question I had with this one, and I think it also has something to do, the only other question I had with this one was on page 3, the number 10, giving students rides in the staff member's personal vehicle or taking students on personal outings without administrative approval. I wrote a note that says, does our other, I think is it 8660, do we have another policy about like driving in the car?
Private transportation,
Okay.
and there's a whole thing, and you have to be approved, and purpose, we have to have your insurance on file, and.
Got it. So that both were covered in terms of, in policy about having it be a non-district vehicle for district or non-district outings. Did that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
Then we're good.
we're doubly
Sorry.
covered.
Thank you.
I think it's interesting, on page 2, it's kind of related, is in letter G, an administrator other than the district administrator shall not transport students for school-related activities, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was interesting that they call it the district administrator. I don't know.
I wasn't planning on
curious.
it.
Yeah, I figured. I mean, and I think that's also covered in that policy 8660. But I just thought that was interesting. I mean, it's, Neola, their legal counsel has recommended that, so I'm not saying we should take it out, but just something to note. Okay.
One of the things that you'll see in that, on page 3, that list there, I'm just kind of looking over it again, and I want to make sure, while we're here, that we talk about it. It does talk about using email, text messaging, or websites to discuss personal topics or interests with students. I also wonder if we consider it a boundary invasion to use text messaging at all with a student, from a staff member to a student.
I mean, I think there's other approved ways of doing, like, school, where they're not using personal contact information, right? There's other
Where
ways
there's
that they're
different
supposed to.
apps that we did, like Sports
Yes.
U is the way to communicate. I'm
Yep.
just
Yep.
proposing that in light of some of the recent things that you've seen in the media with staff members and students.
Well, and this is a list that is a list of boundary invasions. So it is saying that they should not be using these.
It just says
Right.
for personal. I bring it up
Oh,
because
to
it says
disc personal,
you're
yep,
thinking
I
like
see
for
your
for
distinction.
discuss personal topics or interests with students. Just an idea is, do you want to say, in terms of text messaging specifically,
Like you're saying, like pull out text messaging, put it on a different line and say that that's like text messaging.
or non-district approved apps?
I would definitely be amenable to that,
Yeah, I would too.
considering recent events in our area, not our district, to be clear.
Right. Yeah, no, I would support that also. Do you want to propose language for that and then send us the new draft? Okay.
Yeah, I can totally do that.
That's great. And then it would have to be that same point for the next
The next two.
two.
Yeah,
Okay. That's great. Okay.
yeah, it just kind of occurred to me, and I know some people use like Google Voice. You can text through using a Google Voice address, and some staff members use that, not so much with students, but with families. But I think, you know, if we say something like district, you know, district approved apps, that would be an exception.
Yep. And I think there is some language already in there about district-approved communication, like apps and things like that, but
Where is that?
I think we are just, I don't know exactly where it is. I remember reading it. Sorry. But I think just in light of all of our technology options and the line between appropriate and inappropriate relationship and boundaries gets thinner and thinner with all these different options. So I think being even more clear is there's not anything wrong with that.
I agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions on that one? And then, so the next two policies are essentially the same.
Yeah.
3213 and 4213. So I'm going to assume that there's nothing else to discuss for those two? Okay. So the next one is 5135, personal, student identification numbers and cards. Anything there? Okay. 5136, personal communication devices. Anything there? Okay.
Oh, I had a question on that one, sorry, the
Yep.
personal communication devices. In the second paragraph, middle line, it says messaging or other data communication between two or more parties. When we go down and look at like gaming devices, some of those do not require another party unless you consider the other party to be like the app itself or the device itself. Does that, I'm not being clear. It seems to me like if we leave the word two in there, that it requires that there be communication between two, in my mind, different people, whereas there are some gaming devices where that is not a requirement. And an e-reader, you're typically reading by yourself. Is there a problem having it just have, say, two? Or can it be your other data communication?
Well, I think that
I
it
don't know.
says
Am I thinking too much?
it includes, I mean, maybe.
I mean, if you tell me it's covered, I just get worried if they're not actively using it to communicate.
I guess
I don't know.
the policy is on communication devices.
Okay.
To communicate, are used by students and parents to communicate with each other. So it's not focused on technology as much as it is
The
personal
communication piece.
communication.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I follow. Thank you for talking it out.
Any other thoughts on that one? Okay. Next one, 5830, student fundraising. Anything there? Some of these, it's kind of fun this round because some of these are, again, like technical corrections, and we've reviewed many of these within the last year. But then we're also reviewing ones that were like the first ones I was reviewing when I was a baby board member back in 2021. So it's kind of fun. They've made their rounds. Okay. Next one, 6320 purchasing. Okay. 6605, crowdfunding. Okay,
This,
go ahead.
I have one on this one. So on the first page,
Of which one?
Crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding,
crowdfunding.
6605.
Oh, I think I put my note someplace different. There's something about reporting to the principal,
Mhm.
whereas, but prior to that point, it said district. And
I
Is it,
I had a similar note. Was it about the logo?
Maybe, now I can't find the word principal.
Well,
Okay.
my note was said that like the other policy says that the district administrator approves the use of the logo, but then the principal is approving the crowdsource appeal.
Maybe
or like-
that's it.
And it stuck out in my head like it felt inconsistent, but I think it's really more about the logo versus the actual.
Meredith, is it the third paragraph that talks about the approval of the principal that was inserted instead of superintendent?
I thought it was district and now yeah, I think it's that third, was it 1, 2, the third paragraph?
Yeah,
The last sentence.
that's what I was wondering.
That's it, yeah, Bruce, you're right.
Okay.
But only with the specific approval of the principal. And that principal, before then, it was talking about I felt like it didn't call out the principal.
In the second paragraph, it says it was
Mhm.
approved by the district?
Yes, that's what I'm looking at, yes.
Okay, next to
Approved
the-
by the district,
Right.
sorry.
That's
for the-
okay.
Yeah, approved by the district, and then the next paragraph, it mentions the principal, and I think I was like,
Mhm.
and again, maybe that's just
But I would think it would
purposeful.
make sense to have the principal involved because that person's just closer to it than
Okay.
superintendent.
Well, so what it's calling out in the second paragraph is
Yeah.
that the district
Yeah.
is approving,
Crowdfunding
The-
overall.
no, I think it's referring to the organizations or the activities, the specific activities or programs that are approved by the district.
Approved by the district, yes.
And so then the crowdfunding is then approved by the principal.
Yeah. The specific approval,
Yes,
yeah.
for each individual ones.
And keep in mind, when it says the district, that means, that's the broadest term you can use. That means
Yeah.
everybody in
Yeah.
that, and then the principal being specifically acknowledged for specific classroom or school activity, because it's specific to that facility. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep,
So districts is broader,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you get to a specific school activity or classroom activity, it is the principal.
Which makes sense.
okay, thank you for talking that out.
We want to talk about governance, it's more about local control, right? All right, anything else on that policy?
No.
Okay. The next one is 6610, non-district supported student activity accounts. Anything there? Okay. I did want to note the option for the discontinued student activities that we're changing, that after a full year of inactivity, the unexpended funds of a discontinued non-district supported student activity shall be transferred to the student council's account, whereas before it was just transferred to the district's general fund. And I appreciate that because, they're raised, for like by the students, and so it's kind of nice that it goes back to a student activity versus just,
Is that
Anything
that's where
for
they're finding their
operating.
money for their, scholarship they're thinking of
Yeah,
establishing? Yeah,
right,
it's kind of cool.
exactly.
That is
So-
nice.
that's a nice
Yeah.
change. Okay, 7230, gifts, grants, and bequests.
I just had question on this one, and it was a last minute question. I would have asked before, but I'm going to be more clear this time. In the third paragraph, when we say the district administrator or designee shall provide written acknowledgement to the donor of any accepted cash donation over blah, 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 is that a point in time when the board should also be notified to potentially like avoid surprises? The only reason I say that is I have been caught off guard looking at a social media post that we had a donation and didn't know until I saw the post, and it was like just happened to be like in the interim time between like meeting with Aaron, having a meeting. It might be nice to know those things and not rely on other avenues. If it's happening at the same time, maybe add a blind copy. I don't know. Just a thought,
We
not
certainly
required.
could. I mean, those letters get done. Angie does those letters, and you know, and then I always share them out during my
Yeah.
superintendent report. But we could send you a copy from the start.
How
Right,
how
could be a problem with
many
that.
are there typically?
Handful a year.
Oh,
Also, there would be donations to other individual programs, like activity accounts that would not process.
Yeah, we wouldn't see that.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
But we could do what I do process, certainly could be covered.
Yeah, but if there is a donation of $250 or more, I have to provide it, or designee has to
Yeah,
provide a
I was-
written
I
acknowledgement,
was
so.
referring to the smaller.
Yeah, less than 250, yeah. So this would just be over the 250.
Yeah, just over
Yeah.
250.
We could do that. Could blind copy you on that.
I mean, is that overkill? I mean, is that,
I think if it's not a huge volume, I don't think it's overkill. But if it like I was gonna say, maybe we get a report monthly that's
Or quarterly.
or
Yeah.
quarterly, but
Or if
that
it's like-
doesn't address your timely issue.
Yeah,
The
until you
concern
have
of
a board
timely.
meeting that we have one.
Yeah.
But we could just.
I think
when you
more of it
send
was
a
just the
post, you could just
timing of
blind
not-
copy.
It's no extra work to just blind copy.
Okay.
Yep, we all
Sure.
have a little
Sure.
group set of board members.
Sure. Do we want to put that in the policy,
No,
or is
No,
just
I would
just
agree.
limit what
Just
we?
a-
Okay.
practice.
All right. Just as our practice.
procedure, not
Okay.
thank
Good
you,
point.
sorry for the tangent.
No, that's okay. Okay, 7540, digital content and accessibility. Any questions there? Okay, I noted that there's so many little details of things to track. And
Yeah.
so I'm very grateful for the people who keep track of all of these details
Yeah.
of what we're, all the reporting requirements. Okay, and then, let's see, and then 7540, the AI, artificial intelligence. Anything there? Okay. 8462, child
wait, hold
abuse.
on.
I did too. I
Sorry.
had
Hold
one.
on.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Which page is, hold on. I think I had a question about now I can't find it. Never mind. Bruce, go ahead. Apparently I
Well,
can't read this
but I'll be
evening.
probably in the same boat, Meredith. The question I had, it just talked about AI should enhance human interaction and instruction, not replace it, and all AI-driven decisions require human review. And I just said, who does that? Who does the human review? Do we,
I think it's up to the person.
really?
The staff,
The
teachers?
staff, the
Yeah.
teachers, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't, it's not specific, I was wondering.
And I think the question I had was, last sentence, the district administrator is responsible for overseeing and ensuring compliance of this policy. And then I wrote a note to myself about, could this also be like the director of teaching and learning? And then I wrote another comment to myself about like, well, then that's at the direction of the district administrator. So never mind.
Yeah,
Don't mind
but
me.
yeah,
I'm just
but one
talking
of
out
the-
loud, apparently.
The things that's kind of funky is the definition of district administrator, capital D, capital A,
Yes.
includes or designee.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
yeah,
But ultimately,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
Ultimately, I am responsible for adherence to the policy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then final question on the AI one is on page 3, when we talk about AI tool selection,
Mm-hmm.
is this saying that in policy that are we saying teachers and staff cannot use open source like GPT and Copilot? Because those are all open source. Are we saying they are not allowed to use those?
No, we are not saying that.
So when we say the district approves the use of closed AI tools only, I think that's confusing.
I wonder if closed is when it's proprietary and we're paying a subscription or it's part of a paid subscription. That's how I interpreted it. Like where it's maybe still using some of those models, but it's like closed in that it's not sharing the district information when they're, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if they're uploading anything, they're not using, I mean, it says later that it's not, so that that information isn't used in their, in the AI learning database.
It's not
Maybe-
an area of expertise for me.
No.
Maybe we could ask the expert and see what they think.
Clarify just a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's on page 3, isn't
Because
it?
that's a good
Yeah.
point. I mean, it's,
Open source, close.
Because I almost like read through it. I'm like, wait, hold on. It's saying closed.
mm-hmm,
And so in my mind, in my world, that means like we have our own models that we're running and we're creating our own stuff. And I don't think that's the case.
mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, closed and open in tech world can mean very different
Very
things.
different
So
things.
that's,
And they have the definition,
Yeah, it's on page 3.
page 2,
2?
or
3,
Yeah.
I think.
3, 2.
2.
Oh, it is 2, yep, sorry.
Users interact via restricted service.
Oh, yeah.
Closed AI may offer better contractually guaranteed data security.
mm-hmm.
Let me just go on to ChatGPT. What is the difference between open and closed AI?
Yeah, I mean, it's about the architecture of
Yeah.
it and what is, you know, who has access to the code typically. Open AI
So,
is.
yeah, so according to one closed AI tool, ChatGPT, OpenAI source code is publicly available. Anyone can use, modify, or study the model. Encourages collaboration, innovation, and transparency, often developed by research community or organizations that prioritize openness. Metayama and Mistral are examples.
Mm-hmm.
Closed is source code and training are not public. It's controlled by a company.
Mm-hmm.
Users interact with it through apps and APIs, but can't see or change how it works, like Chat, GPT, Claude,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Gemini. So it's like the open is, you know, like you can see the code
Right.
and how
Mhm.
they do it, and
Mm-hmm.
closed is proprietary.
Yep. Which makes sense as to why then we would only want to use closed
Closed. Okay.
versions.
Closed, and here it says closed source or proprietary AI, so
Yes.
they're
Mhm.
using them interchangeably.
Right.
So a Chat GPT would be closed.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's all we use,
Mhm.
is closed.
Good
Learned something.
clarification. Look at
Got
that.
it. Okay, thank
All
you.
Does
right.
that help?
Any other
Yes,
questions on
yeah.
that one? Okay. 8462, child abuse and neglect.
I'm against it.
Thank you.
I am also against that. I support our policy, though.
I support our policy.
All right, any questions about that?
No.
Okay. And then 9211 is district support organizations. This is rescinding and replacing
That was,
with
yeah,
the
rescind.
next one, the 9215.
No questions.
Any questions?
No.
Okay, just paging through. No, I also don't have any. Okay. So I would look for a motion.
I move to approve the first reading of the following policies as recommended by administration. 1213 student supervision and welfare, 3213 student supervision and welfare, 4213 student supervision and welfare, 5135 student identification numbers and cards, 5136 personal communication devices, 5830 student fundraising, 6320 purchasing, 6605 crowdfunding, 6610 non-district supported student activity accounts, 7320 gifts, grants, and bequests, 7540.02 digital content and accessibility, 7540.08 artificial intelligence AI, 8462 child abuse and neglect, 9211 district support organizations, 9215 school support organizations.
I'll second.
You seconded?
Thank you. Cute, yep.
I'm starving.
All right.
I know, me too.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. And then last but not least, action on recommended WEVA DCA Insight School of Wisconsin student transfers to resident districts.
I move to approve the WEVA Destinations Career Academy and Insight School of Wisconsin recommended student transfers back to the resident districts due to lack of engagement.
I'll second.
Okay. All right, any discussion?
We got some kindergartners,
I
but no
know.
first graders.
The list's getting longer too. Because we're wrapping up the school year soon.
Time of year.
Ish. Yep. So, all right. Any, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
All right. Sorry, I just have to get the names written before I say it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 9:48 PM.